Welcome back. Again, just me, missing my wife. Hopefully she'll be here soon. Wife, baby, kids, everybody's doing great. As for this episode, we're going to talk about kind of what's been happening in the summer with Hawkeye Athletics, as well as our interview with Stephen Buchanan, the national champion at 197. Incredible story, kind of talks about his faith, talks about his family life. He's one of 12 kids, unbelievable. And his journey to get here. Didn't start at Iowa, but certainly ended in a great way at Iowa. So we excited you're here. This is Talkin Hawks, the off season, presented by Hills Bank. No matter where you are in life, Hills Bank is here to help you succeed.
Whether you're buying your first house, saving for your child's future, or preparing for retirement, you can count on the people at Hills Bank for the support you need to reach your goals.
It's easy to connect with a banker in person, over the phone, or on hillsbank.com.
Because we believe banking is better through human connection.
Hills Bank is an equal housing lender and FDIC member. Yeah, so welcome back. Like I said, just me again. I got to be honest, I much prefer a dialogue between my wife and I as opposed to just me talking at you. And there are two different camera angles. So Mom, even though you say you don't like the separate camera angles, it's easier this way. It's easier to cut if I say something stupid, then my editor can just knock it out and then get it done correctly. But anyway, thank you for watching, Mom. I do appreciate it. As for this episode, kind of talk a little bit about what's going on in Hawkeye Athletics. I think everybody just saw, since I believe it happened last night, the couple fights with Caitlin Clark. It's interesting how she just continues to be in the headlines for just playing ball, but then other people seem to kind of get in fights. There were a couple technicals, a couple people thrown out, but it's really cool to see that the way that she carries herself, I think, is something that we can all appreciate. They asked her about some stuff afterwards, and she said, I'm only here to talk basketball. And I hope that remains the case as she continues to move forward. So it's really cool. I think we got a lot of Indiana Fever fans here that listen to the podcast, or at least in Iowa. So it's cool to be able to continue to watch her. Just obviously, we want her safe too. As for football, I think there was some recruiting trails are starting to pick up a little bit. Might have flipped a couple things, which the NIL world of recruiting has to be so difficult. We've talked to a couple guys on here that unfortunately money talks, especially at a young age, on if there's an ability to pull somebody in versus this versus that, and how much is this, as opposed to truly developing and seeing what can happen from there. And I think the cool thing is that Iowa's sticking to its roots. They are pulling on some other things here, right? Because in order to be competitive to a point, I think you have to have kind of that extra funds available, I guess. But when you want to look at track record, you look at NFL guys, you look at guys that at least get an opportunity, guys that, like myself, who's a 2-star, got an opportunity in the NFL after Iowa, which is not a predominantly throwing football program. And yet still, I had an opportunity. Tavon Smith had an opportunity in the NFL. Kevontae Martin-Manley was with Browns for a little bit. Amir Smith-Marset still playing. Brandon Smith with the Cowboys. So like there's a lot of guys. Riley McCarron has a Super Bowl ring with the New England Patriots. Like there's so many guys that get an opportunity. And that's just the receivers. Just guys that I played with. So I think that there's something to stand for that. But I also understand that there's other things that kind of need to get funneled in as they hopefully put some boundaries on this. Try and figure out where the balance truly is. But as far as like true development program, truly understanding what football is, and then doing the work to become really good at football, I don't think anybody's better than Iowa at that. So excited to see kind of what this next group of recruits are like. I'm sure there's going to be more flipping and flopping, just like there always is. Different transfers, different things. But if there's anything I've learned is that they're in a world where there's a lot of instability, KF remains the same. Coach Franz continues to be the head guy and push the Hawkeyes forward. I want to say there was some stat I saw on Twitter. I apologize, I can't give the poster credit, but essentially winning seasons or 8 or 9 win seasons since the CFP was first introduced, or I want to say that's what it was. And I was one of 7 teams, I think, maybe 8, that has had a winning season every year since the college football playoff, which is insane. Insane. We just win. Obviously, there are close games, and we all have things that we all want to go undefeated every single year. But at the same time, just to have that kind of level of consistency with so many different players, not as many different coaches. There have been a few differences on the offensive staff, But to remain that stable through so many different players and understanding the coaching, I don't think that can be undermined, especially when it comes to that. So obviously excited to see what they do. They're in summer workouts now, skills and drills, getting ready for a pretty exhausting July before they get into August and fall camp, where obviously they get after it a little bit. Wrestling, kind of transferring to that now that I talked earlier that we're going to discuss with Stephen Buchanan. Incredible interview. But there's also Worlds was going on, or at least qualifying for the Worlds team. Spencer Lee, no surprise, because he got second in the Olympics. He was kind of pushed to the final. And if you haven't checked out our interview with Spencer Lee, I implore you to go back and listen to that. It was an incredible interview. But he also kind of talks about how they do kind of the Olympics and Worlds tournament just in the U.S. in order to make the team. And because he was in the Olympics and got a medal, he was already ushered to the final round. And so essentially everybody else just kind of fought or wrestled to have an opportunity to wrestle him, which he beat Luke Lilladal 2 times. So he's going on to the Worlds team. He's actually going to be joined by Real Woods, who is also there. So another Hawkeye. And then I think the women had qualified for the Worlds team. One of them being Kennedy Blades, who we also had on the podcast. That was our very first episode this offseason. So if you haven't looked at it yet, go watch it. It's a great interview. And she talks about what the Olympics is like, kind of just a wide-eyed young kid and really taking in all the experiences that the Olympics has to offer in terms of being able to see the place, and then also going out and performing, doing what she needed to do. It's really cool. But as for Stephen Buchanan, really stand-up guy. I think you're really going to enjoy this interview. So let's get to it. Hawkeye fans, Big Grove is an official craft brewer of the Iowa Hawkeyes. Whether it's in season or the off season like we are now, join them at any of their 4 Iowa locations in Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, Des Moines, and Solon, home to the VandeBergs, where you can enjoy fan favorites like Easy Eddie, Citrus Surfer, and the new neighborhood beer, all while cheering on the Hawks.
Big Grove Brewery, your official watch party headquarters of the Iowa Hawkeyes all year long. Go Hawks! Big Grove Brewery, an official craft brewery of the Iowa Hawkeyes. Enjoy responsibly. Matt, did you know that Iowa City Tire does more than just tires?
Well, yeah, I mean, they've been servicing vehicles in the corridor for like 40 years.
Right, but did you really know that before someone had to tell you?
No.
Check out how they're doing things in a very different way at Iowa City Tire and Service, where service actually comes first.
The Appliance Barn offers a wide range of high-quality appliances at unbeatable prices.
Whether you're in the market for a new refrigerator, dishwasher, or washing machine, they've got you covered.
They also have a delivery and setup department to ensure your appliances get delivered and installed quickly. To find out more, visit appliancebarn.com.
Okay, Talkin Hawks fans, we were listening, and we have another wrestler in store for you today. And not only is he just a wrestler at the University of Iowa, but he's also a national champion. Everyone, please welcome Stephen Buchanan.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
How's it going?
It's going well. It's going well. You know, in a 2-week break, just chilling, doing me. So yeah.
Nice. So a 2-week break. Like, are you actually taking a break, or like a break for a wrestler? Like, what does that look like?
It's like mandatory. So like you can probably still go in and get a little in, but
Okay.
yeah, definitely you need it for like the mind, for your body. So yeah, definitely taking advantage of it.
Break before what?
Just until like freestyle season starts up. So that training regimen into like the summer, and then you have your summer training, and then get back into it in the fall. So
Do you have another year?
I do not have another year.
That's what I thought.
I'm working into like freestyle. I don't have like that much. I'm not really that good in freestyle. I only have like probably like 20 matches under me. So gonna have to start training pretty hard for it for like Worlds, and then for the Olympics in 3 years. So yeah.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. So it'll be pretty good.
Is that something where like, I mean, I know like football players, we watch a ton of tape. Is that something where like you watch tape of like other guys freestyling, or like how do you learn more so of a different style?
So I grew up watching Jordan Burroughs. So I did watch a lot of freestyle like growing up, and that was like always like a goal of mine or like a dream. It's funny because I wanted to be like an NFL football player, but I fell short of that dream. I was like,
you got the size, man.
Right,
You want to get? I was
like, college. It was just like I wanted to be a D1 football player and then move on to NFL. And then I got to college. Well, before college, and they were like, "Here's your scholarship in wrestling, no scholarship in football." So I took that route. But I always looked up to Jordan Burroughs, and like you were saying, just training in freestyle. I think watching does a lot, but then also just getting on the mat and getting that time in, and then having some matches. So
it's the same 10,000 hour rule, right?
Yes,
You just got to hammer it.
Yep.
Here, I'll let you start it off. I I already commandeered too much of the conversation.
Oh, that's okay. I was going to say something about Jordan Burroughs too. His Instagram handle, all I see is gold.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
So
I didn't know that.
it's a really great handle.
It is.
But the first time I read it, somebody had like tagged him or whatever, you know. And I was like, who is Elise Gold? I could not for the life of me. And then I like clicked and I was like, his name is not Elise Gold.
Yeah.
And then it all connected for me.
No,
and
definitely.
it all made sense. But every time now that I see his handle, I
You
think
kind of
of that.
remember that.
Yeah, totally. Okay. That was totally off the topic. But typically how we like to start our episodes is just all the way back from the beginning. So even before college, before you got to Iowa, before wrestling was probably even a thing for you, right? Like when you were a kid. So where did you grow up?
I grew up in a small town called Loyal. Well, actually Greenwood, and then we moved to Loyal like my 7th grade year. But yeah. Big
What
family. Wisconsin. Central Wisconsin. So super small town, like just over 1,000 people.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like pros and cons to it because like something goes bad or something goes wrong, the entire town will know within like the next day. But yeah, super good time there, and was in wrestling, football, track, all the way throughout high school. So yeah, 3-sport athlete, and yeah, just I always liked sports, so just trying to stay busy. So yeah.
Nice. Do you have any siblings? You said big family.
Yes,
Okay.
I do. So I have 7 brothers and 3 sisters. So
You're
like,
kidding.
yes,
Whoa.
it's big family. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. So a lot of fights with my brothers, and then sisters were just firecrackers, man. So yeah.
7 brothers though?
Yes. And I'm number 3 out of them. So had to change a lot of diapers and then take care of a lot of like toddlers growing up. But it was good, but it was a lot. So like
Whoa.
We're on baby number 3.
Okay, yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Congrats.
I was like, this might be like, we're pushing it.
Yes,
Like, I got
yes.
10 siblings.
No, I tip my hat to my mom and dad because I don't know how they did it. Like at like brother 8, it was just like mom was like, "We have a surprise." I'm like, "There's no surprise. Like it's another kid." And I was just like, "I think we have enough, mom." But it was
collected
just,
enough children.
Yes, it was a lot. It was a lot growing up,
Wow.
but it was good. Yeah.
That is incredible.
It was. I tip my hat to my mom for sure.
What do your parents do?
So my dad was a mechanic until I was like 8, and then he transitioned into working for the county. And then my mom was always really good in the kitchen, so she was a school chef, and then now she kind of does her own catering business. So,
Oh, no way.
yeah. So
that's really
it's
cool.
really cool. Yeah, worked out for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about your other siblings. So the
Can you
7
even name them all?
brothers. Yeah.
I can't, the birthdays. Yeah, that'll get me.
All right, we won't quiz you on that. We won't put you on the spot.
yeah.
But so what's the order here?
So you have Andrew is the oldest, Jesse, me, Nathan, Shalisha, Ethan, Jerome, Harmony, Ree, and Jewel, and then Cade. Yeah.
Whoa. And then Cade.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you're
Whoa.
the third, and you're
Yep.
what, 20?
I'm 24.
4?
Yep. So we all have like a year and a half, 2 years in between us all, and yeah. So it's wild. It's
Bless
wild.
your mom.
Yes. Yeah.
Can I just say?
Yeah. It's crazy. But,
Unbelievable.
yeah.
Wow.
Well, I
So-
feel like you kind of come by wrestling naturally with that many brothers, right?
Yeah.
Like
What was
everybody. I feel like you come by wrestling naturally with that many brothers.
Yes, the fights,
Everybody
man,
beat
always
up.
kind of like turned into wrestling matches, and then it's a funny story actually. My 2 older brothers were in basketball, and they just weren't that great. And then there was like a game where one of my brothers were like, he was in the game, but he wasn't in the game, and then someone passed him the ball, and he wasn't paying attention. I don't know how, but he got hit in the face with the ball. And after that, my dad was just like, "All right, we're done with basketball. We're just gonna go
He
strictly
embarrassed him
wrestling."
so bad that he took him out.
Yes. He's like, no
Oh,
more of
no.
that. But yeah, that's how we all kind of stuck to the mat. So yeah.
Your brothers are all wrestlers, or how does that work out?
Oh yeah, all my brothers are in wrestling. Some kind of stopped, like Ethan. He didn't really like it. I think he was cutting weight too much, and then kind of lost the love for it. So he kind of stopped. But yeah, most of us are football, wrestling, and then track or baseball. So
Wow.
yeah.
Did anybody else go past high school?
No one went past high school. Andrew probably could have got into D1 football maybe,
Mhm.
but with like us moving schools, he lost a year of like eligibility
Oh.
in football, so that was kind of sad. And then Jesse, super fast, he probably could have gone track, but and then I obviously went wrestling. So yeah,
When you
but yeah,
said
everyone kind of stopped in high school.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
you're good.
When you said you were switching schools, what do you mean you
Mhm.
lost?
So apparently, like if he was in ninth grade. So if you're in high school and you change schools, they think it's for like not like recruitment, but for like a better opportunity, and
Okay.
they take away a year. So he was still able to practice
In
on the team.
Wisconsin.
Yes. So he was able to still practice on the team, but lost a year of eligibility, which
Man.
is
That's bizarre.
which is wild, and yeah, hate to see it, but
Well, you hate to see that too because it's not the kid's fault.
yeah, that's what I'm
if
saying.
Your
That's what
parents
I'm
move
saying.
because of a job or this or
Yeah.
that, and then it gets taken on the kid. That's so
Yeah,
unfortunate.
and like it wasn't like a big move either. It's like
Yeah.
15 minutes away. So I don't know if that played into the role of things or what, but yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, figure it out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So how young is your youngest brother then?
My youngest brother's 6, so he's kindergarten going into first grade. So yeah, it's wild. You go back home and you're like, oh, you're still way back there. Yeah, I remember those days. But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you were kind of like a pseudo parent then at some point.
Yes. I mean, yeah, you go into like Walmart and grocery shopping and like your parents don't have enough hands. So you're holding this guy's hand and this girl's hand, and it's just like everyone's like looking around, and I cannot remember. I mean, there's so many times where you're walking in stores and you look behind you, you're like, oh my goodness, where is my younger sibling? And he's off in another aisle just looking at something, or like the toy section.
Sure.
So yeah, a lot of fun.
Wow.
I'm just baffled.
Yeah. Definitely goes a lot that goes into it, but it was a good time.
So with that big of a family, and I'm sure we'll kind of get into it here, but this is kind of what popped in my head. So this is your third school.
Yep.
We'll talk about that. But like, what's the support look like when they've got so many things that they probably have to go to or be a part of?
Yeah. So I tip my hat to my mom, because she has done just so much more than I ever expected to like support me in my college days. Like obviously Wyoming was so far away that she couldn't make everything. And like, you have to understand that, because like there's so many like other siblings that my dad goes to his job, and then someone needs to be at home after they come back from school and then fill in their needs. So yeah, definitely kind of understood when she couldn't make the home meets or the away meets, but she was always there for Big 12s and NCAAs every year. So that was great. And then yeah, it just means it means the world when they're like there Matt's side, and you're like, I know you have a lot of things going on in your life, and you took the time out of your day to come watch me. So
I saw you guys had like a giant hug on the mat.
Yeah,
after
that was my brother Nate. Yeah, it was great. It was great. Yeah,
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Did your mom come up to? Am I thinking of the right person? Did your mom come up like right when you won?
Yes,
That's what I thought,
came up out of that?
yes.
Your mom is beautiful.
Yes,
She's had that many children, and she looks like that.
She's a superhero. I don't know how she does it, and yeah, I mean, just with all the kids and I mean all the stress that goes with it, and she's just a trooper, man. She just does it, and yeah, I can't thank her enough for everything she's done.
She's my superhero too now at this point.
Yeah.
I'm glad you have this kind of appreciation, but I also feel like it's gonna skyrocket when you have your first kid.
Oh yes, definitely. I mean, I can't even imagine, man. So yeah, when that day comes, I'll probably be giving her calls and be like, I appreciate you for real. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you feel like having like that much responsibility, just I use this term lightly because whatever, like being kind of that like pseudo parent, having to like help take care of all the kids. Do you feel like that gave you kind of this sense of like maturity and responsibility a little bit sooner than maybe other kids?
Yeah,
were?
absolutely. When I left for college, Wyoming, and I know we'll get into it, but it was 16 hours away from home, but I felt like I had like the responsibility that others didn't. And also I think it gives you like a sense of appreciation for like when people do things for you, because you're doing things for others and you're like, oh, I wish I would get like appreciated for it.
Yeah.
And then you have people like pouring in you and you're like, man, I appreciate you. So I think it just kind of gives you that sense. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that totally makes sense. That's such a like wise thing to say too, because that's such a mom feeling or like probably a dad feeling too. Where it's like,
thank you.
These dang kids, like I pour everything into these kids and do this for them and that for them. They don't even appreciate me, you know? And so it's like for you to kind of get a look into that thought process ahead of time. Then again, it gives you, like you said, a deeper appreciation for when people do stuff for you.
Absolutely.
That's a really cool way to think about that. Okay, so did all of the sports, track, football, did you say baseball or no?
No, I didn't get into baseball yet, but track, football, and wrestling, yeah.
Got it. So then you get to high school. And did you mostly focus on those three then still in high school, or what did that look like?
Yeah, so I would say that track came in more in high school. Like in middle school, not really. But yeah, more focus was on football and wrestling, and then track was just like the sport you did to like kind of stay in shape a little bit. So that's why I did it.
Sprint or throw?
I was kind of like everything. Like
oh,
not
okay,
like that, not like that, not like that. Yeah, some people are like, oh, you did like everything. You must have been so good. No, I was.
Because you had 4 people out of the team. Is that
Yes, I mean, yes. I was like, I wasn't fast enough to sprint, so I got thrown into like the 400 and 4x4. And then sometimes the coach was like, hey, can you run the 800? I'd be like, oh,
no.
sure. And he's like, we need some more points in throwing, so can you also throw? And I was just like, yeah, sure. So I was just athletic enough to do things to get points for the team, but I wasn't winning anything. So it was funny because you would see the success in football and more success in wrestling, and then people would be like, "Oh, Steven, you're gonna be so good at track," and then they see you and you're like, "Oh, Steven, this is not your sport." But it was humbling. It was definitely humbling. But
that's so funny to me.
Yeah.
It's also really cool that you got to do all those things.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You know, instead of being like typecast, like I sprinted and jumped and that was it. But like, what would it be like to throw a discus or something?
Yeah. No, you definitely give more appreciation to the people who do them things, because like I tried jumping and like, man, I always thought pole vaulting was easy, and I tried and I could not do it to save my life. So
pole vault in high school?
I tried. I wasn't even good enough to get over like 7 feet, and the pole's like 10 feet, and you're like, okay, bro, like this is definitely not it. I mean, people are almost high jumping as high as I'm pole jumping.
True.
So yeah.
Interesting. How big is your dad?
My dad is 6. Yes, like 6 foot. Yeah.
How tall are you?
I'm like 6 foot, but some of my family, like Nathan, he's like 6'2", and I have a younger brother who's like almost 6 foot right now. He's probably will end up 6'3". So I think the height comes from my mom's side. She's like still short, but like the males on her side are like 6'2", and like you get up to like 6'7". So I think that's where we get the height from. But
understood.
Yeah.
Is it like, so in football, we always try to get that little extra half inch. Like, I'm actually 6 foot and a half inch.
Yeah.
Like, is there like a stigma in wrestling, or is it all the weight? It doesn't really matter how tall you are.
I don't think it really matters how tall you are. Like, I think wrestlers are more like looked at as like the short, stocky, like really strong guys. But I think it depends on like all like weight classes and all that. So
like when you walked out there, I'm like, this guy's way too lean to be a wrestler.
Yes,
like,
yes. I mean, I get like when you're walking through like an airport with like your college gear on, and people are looking at you and they're like, "Oh, you play basketball? No. Oh, you play football? No." It's like, "Yeah, I wrestle," and they're like, "Oh, wrestling."
Yes. Nice. I thought the same thing. She's like, "Hey, you got to watch Stephen Buchanan."
Yeah.
And like early on in the season when you first got here, because I'm newer to the sport,
right now.
Mainly because she really got me into it. She was really into it. And then I was like, this guy looks too athletic to be a wrestler. And I mean that in the nicest way. Yeah. But like,
Matt, we have all these wrestling fans that just joined, and you just called out.
Well, they all look the same. They all run the same. Like,
well, I think
that's what I'm used to.
To your point, when you said they're just known as like the more short, stocky guys, like
to a newer fan,
Caliendo.
I
think he probably fits in like that. Looks like a wrestler.
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. You, on the other hand, do not look as much like a wrestler.
Yeah, you get up to like 97 heavyweights, and like you could definitely like look at him and be like, "Oh, that could be a football player."
Like Ben Keeter.
Like, yes. Oh, dude. Yeah. Keeter,
which he is. But I mean, like.
Yeah, that's where you get it from. Yeah.
Okay. So, sorry. Now we'll go back to high school. So you focus on those 3 sports. What's recruiting like versus what you wanted to do? You mentioned you wanted to play football, but what was the recruiting process like for that?
So I wasn't really highly recruited because like small town, and I wasn't able to really get out of state wrestling. So I think out of state wrestling really
what's out of state wrestling?
So like more like freestyle, like you have Fargo in North Dakota where a lot of college coaches look to recruit, and then you have
Sorry to interrupt, but I'm trying to understand. Do you like you would go to Fargo to do that style of wrestling, or it's a program that you would then go to Fargo to do?
Okay, I see what you're saying. It is a style. So out of state wrestling is usually more freestyle, like how I was talking about, and I didn't really get into that until like my junior year.
Okay.
And then you have like harder tournaments that you can like go to like kind of get that notice and get that national ranking.
I get what you're saying.
Yep. So I just didn't do that until my junior and senior year. So like coaches didn't really know who Stephen Buchanan was. And I was also kind of like focused on like more football and like trying to train for it, get faster for that. And then you get to my senior year where I'm doing these clinics for football, and I'm just a step and a half behind these guys who are there. And then you kind of have that realization. It's just like, okay, well, wrestling is kind of where it's at. But yeah. So go ahead.
That was later when you realized that, though.
Yes, it was like my senior year where like my parents were like, Steven, maybe you should just take this year and like focus on wrestling because that's where your talents lie. And I was just like, well, no, I want to play this last year. And I really want to like go D1. Like I was so stuck on that. And then you get to like the end of the season, you're like, all right, I'm getting offers from wrestling, but none from football. So that's where the realization kind of hit. And
what'd you play in football?
my first 2 years, I was offensive guard and outside linebacker. And yes, I'll get into that. But my last 2, I was defensive end and running back. But yeah, the first 2, I wanted to be like a quarterback, wide receiver, running back, and they're like,
"What, you at guard?
we need an offensive guard. So can you do it for the team?" I was just like, "Oh, sure." So yeah, that's the other comp to like small schools. It's like you have to be a team player. So,
right.
Yeah.
Man, he had his hand in the dirt.
Yeah. I was catching footballs, man. There was so many times like me and my brothers would just be catching footballs, doing like offensive plays, and like I'm having these dreams of like throwing the football, catching the football, making the touchdowns, and
you get
blocking.
your chance, you just get hurt.
Yeah. So yeah.
Man, so then the recruiting process for wrestling, what did that look like for you?
Like I said, wasn't really highly recruited. There were some universities like Wisconsin, Minnesota as like the bigger universities, and like I was kind of like close to them, so they saw me in like the state tournament. But they just had better guys. So like Wisconsin had the #1 ranked guy at my weight. Yes, and Minnesota had a better guy. So they were like, "Hey, we like want you, but we can't give you a scholarship, and you will have to like pretty much walk on." And I think there were like some other universities where it was almost the same situation. And then I get a call from like Wyoming. And he saw me at Fargo, and he was just like, "I like the way you wrestled, and I can give you 50% scholarship." And I was just like, well, this is all I'm kind of getting. It's a D1 offer, and I kind of like didn't want to like risk it because he was like, "You only have a week." And then I was just like, all right, I'm going to Wyoming. So that's how it kind of all started.
So timeline of this kind of stuff.
Yep.
Because wrestling is a winter sport in Wisconsin, right?
Yep.
So if you only get a week, do you have to commit by a certain amount of time before you can enroll the next year? Like, what's the timeline for deciding where you're going?
Yeah, I think usually like recruitment then started like more your senior year at like the beginning of the year. So like you'd be in football and they would be like, "Hey man, like yada yada yada."
No, they're talking about wrestling.
But yeah, but now it like starts. I mean, I think it can start as early as like your sophomore year. So So yeah. So once
but
they
with
started,
that, sorry, I'm
ahead.
interrupting, but I'm also trying to understand exactly where I'm getting here. So if you only have a week until the end of signing day, like is that kind of what the deadline was, or he just said you only have an offer for a week?
Yes, he only offered it for a week. Like I had like probably a good 5 more months to like try to like get offered.
That's what I was getting.
Yes,
Gotcha.
yes. And then he was just like, "This offer is good, but you have 7 days." And I was just like, I didn't really have that many like great options. So at the time I was just like, well, this kind of sucks, but it's an offer. And
it's an opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. So went ahead, took it, and became a Cowboy. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I don't think I've ever heard of that before.
Put a timeline on
Put a
like
timeline
that?
on a scholarship.
Yeah.
So Wyoming, tell us about that. I don't know a whole lot about the state or
there's one really good football
university?
player right now from Wyoming.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah?
Josh Allen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Josh.
We played them so that was 2016 or was it 20? I think it was 2017.
Yeah.
Wyoming came here and played. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no, I got there. And I think he left like 2 years prior. But
gotcha.
he was the man. Like posters of him everywhere. I was like, who is this guy? And they're like, that's Wyoming right there. Like, that is the man. But I didn't know anything about Wyoming either. I had to like look it up and like look where I needed to be and like where Laramie was. And I was just like, well, this is happening. And 16 hours away, and people are like, "Are you gonna be okay out there?" And I was just like, "Yeah, we're just gonna shoot for it." And got out there, and it really grew on me. Great people, had a lot of coaches. I mean, Tion Ware, he became like more of a mentor to me. And I mean, great teammates. It was an amazing time.
What's the campus like there? If you can kind of compare it to Iowa, let's say, which is more of kind of like that small city feel.
Yeah.
Is it, I mean, because you think of, it's just like when people think of Iowa, they're like, oh, cornfields and there's nothing there. You think of Wyoming and I'm like, horses and.
Yes.
Cowboys.
Cowboys, yeah.
Definitely smaller.
Okay.
But like everything was like really kept up and nice. They had really nice facilities and like mountains. So like we were kind of like surrounded by mountains. So
cool.
it was really pretty. But then training came and like we were running the mountains and I started to hate the mountains. So yeah, that was good. But yeah, there was like rock climbing and then you had fishing, hunting. So definitely a lot of more outdoorsy stuff. And then every year our team would like go like branding. So that was always fun. And so like, yeah, branding is just like you go to like a farm and like they like brand the cattle and you have to like flip them. So like they want the wrestlers to come out there and help them out. So we did that as like a team bonding thing. The first time I was just like, what is going on? But
why did I think y'all were branding each other like some sort of initiation?
Yeah,
or something.
That's kind of crazy though.
Yeah.
That's a cool experience.
It was a cool experience. Definitely got us closer to the guys who were already on the team. And yeah, you just get there and you're like, you seeing it all happen. You're like, what is going on? And you smell like the burning skin. And I'm like, what did I get myself into? But yeah, after a few months, I was just like, yeah, I can call this home. So yeah.
That's cool. It's probably kind of comparable to growing up in like the Midwest, right?
Yes,
like,
it wasn't that big of a
change.
So yeah, just a lot more country folk, I would say. More cowboy boots, cowboy hats. Like,
did you get into that?
I did not.
No,
People said I would, and I was just like, maybe that's the reason I did. I was like, I won't change.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can remember the first time I walked into the locker room, and there was a guy walking out, and he was just fully dressed like cowboy, and like I don't know what that little thing is with like the two strings.
It's something that starts with a B.
I can't remember, but
Okay.
Matthew, we gotta check it out.
What is that? The tie that has the strings on it.
Tie that has the strings.
We'll find it.
Gotcha.
A bolo tie?
Yeah, that must have been it. But yeah, I saw him and he was putting on his hat, walking out. So I was like, oh wow, like these guys are for real.
That's awesome.
So yeah. But other than that, it was great, man.
Cool. So what did that year look like for you as far as wrestling goes?
So
was that right before COVID?
That was right before COVID. So yeah, I was gonna redshirt, and then the guy my weight ended up transferring out last minute, honestly. And then they're like, you're the guy, because I was the only guy. So kind of got thrown to the Sharks, and I was not as prepared, but I think it prepared me just like getting out there, getting really seasoned. And then I had that season. It wasn't like the greatest. I think I went like 24 and like 16 or something like that. But got
that's
into
a lot of wrestling.
It was a lot of matches.
That's 40 matches? Like,
yeah, it was close. Yeah, we did a lot of tournaments that year, and yeah, never took off a match. But yeah, I think it helped me just kind of shoot and skyrocket. And then you have like the training and like training partners and all that. But yeah, you get to the NCAAs and then COVID hits, and then no NCAAs. And a lot of guys were like super bummed out from that, but that was my first year in college, and we were like working so hard, and my body was so tired. So I almost saw it as like a blessing, because I got like a at-large bid, so I didn't even like really like qualify, and they like leave like 3 spots I think open, and I was one of those 3. So for me, it was just like I was just like, oh, okay, like it was great to get in, and they're like, it's not happening no more. I was just like, okay,
yeah,
but yeah.
Okay, so then second year, what does that look like for you?
Second year, starter again. Have some breakout matches, so defeat like a top 10 guy from Oklahoma, Dakota Gear. So that was huge. And then yeah, kind of get to the tournament, wrestling pretty decent, and then end up AAing. And yeah, it was a good year. Good year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what was kind of the tipping point for you after Wyoming that you were like, okay, I'm ready to transfer? And kind of what did that season look like for you as you were transferring?
Yeah, so it was like really hard training, and they focused on like making you tough. Like our motto was just like be tough and like be cowboy tough. Like that was like our saying, like cowboy tough. And we really were. Like he was like, our coach Mark Branch was always just like, you're gonna go out there and wrestle, and even if you lose that match, make sure that guy never wants to wrestle you again. And that was kind of like the model behind like all our training, what we did. But at the same time, my body was like kind of going downhill a little bit with like not like injuries, but just little things. And I was just like, I think I'm a redshirt. And then on top of that, my coach Tion Ware, who kind of became a mentor to me, said he was leaving and he was going to Oklahoma. So I kind of stuck around for a little bit and to just kind of feel it out. And it just wasn't really the same. So transferred over to Oklahoma, and yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So transfer portal at that point.
Mhm.
Yes.
It was just like wide open at that point too, or what did it look like?
That would have been 2021.
Yes, 2021, 2020.
So just past COVID.
A year. I think it was a year and a half past COVID. So I did
Okay.
8th. No, I did 8th, and then I did another year. So I did 3 years at Wyoming. So
Okay.
yes, after that 8th place year, had another really good year. Yeah, took out number 1, and then I think I was
Dang.
going into the tournament at number 2 seed, and yeah, kind of wrestle. And it's funny, yeah, I meet Jacob Warner in the semis, and he takes me out, and it was a bittersweet. Now I can look back and I'm like, oh, it works. But yeah, at that time, not a great fan of Iowa, not a big fan, not a big fan. But yeah, I ended up with 3rd, and then yeah, as I was saying, my body was kind of going downhill, and I just kind of wanted to take a year, grow my wrestling a little bit, work on little things, and then come back for 2 more years. But Tion obviously said he was leaving, so I stuck around and then headed to Oklahoma to follow him.
When I'm going to back up just a little bit because it's been sitting on my brain for a little bit. So you wanted to go D1 football, D1 wrestling, kind of going back and forth.
Yeah.
Obviously, training is unbelievably different.
Yeah.
Right? Is it harder? Is the wrestling, and this is subjective, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm kind of curious what your thoughts were in training for football. I understand it's at a high school level as opposed to a D1. But do you feel like wrestling was like, I mean, you also went to Cowboy Tough.
Yes.
So like, how different was it from your training for football?
I would say a lot more like cardio. Like I think football is like a lot more like strength, explosion, speed. So like more like sprints and all that, which is like hard because you're carrying all them pads too.
Sure.
But like wrestling, it's more like full body training, like getting your lungs, and then you're just using pretty much all the muscles in your body. Not saying like in football you're not, but I think just like in the practices we were going through were just like so long. So I would say at Wyoming in that experience, wrestling was definitely harder.
It's so crazy that all that's for 7 minutes.
Yes, it's so wild. I mean, you go for 2.5 hours for like months on end,
right?
And then you get to a match, and you're like, okay, let's do this. And you're like, how am I getting more tired in the match than in practice? But yeah, that's how it goes. I think Terry said he's just like the equivalent of a 2-hour practice is 7-minute match, and I was just like, I never thought about it that way, but that's so true. So
wow,
that's wild.
That is crazy to think about. I will say, when you watch just like even like the little clips and like little videos and stuff that like Iowa Wrestling puts out, you guys look like, I mean, miserable. Like it looks so hard.
Yes.
I mean, I know you guys enjoy it. And I know it's like, that's just what wrestling is. And part of it, as you alluded to, is like that cardio that is just like, cardio never gets easier. Can I just say that? Like,
it doesn't.
I was just talking to somebody about like doing a Peloton bike, and I was like, I don't like doing it because I never feel like I'm good at it. Like, you know, like you can lift weights and you can be like, oh, great, now I can bump my weights up. So then you feel like you're getting better. Cardio just always feels like I'm like an out of shape piece of junk.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. It's just like you like do like the same workouts and like you're getting so much tired, like you're just getting tired, and like being tired is never fun, and it's just like, should this not be getting easier? And it's just like, I think you just get to the point where like you can push yourself a little bit harder, and
you just get numb to
you
the
just
pain.
get more tired, and more tired. So
Right. Nelson had said when he was on the podcast, he's like, when I was little, like I came up with this thing that pain is my friend, and I was like, that just must be like part of a wrestling mentality where it's like, this is just like a good time for me. Like,
yes.
I feel like it's 3/4
wrestling,
wrestling, 1/4 brands, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yes. I was taught that in like college too. Like all the college coaches were just like, pain's a good thing. Like when you're sore, it means you worked hard, so it's a good thing. And I'm just like, but I don't like it. Like this is so hard. And like he's like, hard is good. I'm just like, yeah, but hard sucks. So, but
I can appreciate that, especially from a national champ, because you would think that like a national champ wrestler would come and be like, no, like I love it. I love the pain. You're like, I actually don't really like love that side of it. I can appreciate the honesty.
No, definitely. It's in the moment it's always just like, oh, this is not great. But then after the workouts, you're like, okay, I did that.
I'm glad.
It's
That
so
makes
that adds
sense.
on. Yeah.
Okay, so Oklahoma. Tell me about that. I mean, what was that experience?
Went from a Cowboy
like?
to a Sooner.
Yes, and it was good. Had a really good time there. It was kind of weird because I moved into that program with like a different coaching staff that I wrestled for. So I went there for Lou Roselli, Tion Ware, Sam Hazewinkle, Nick Heflin, and I got to train with them for the remainder of my redshirt year, and then went to the U.S. Open with them. And then moving into the summer, that college like kind of wiped them. They like kind of just said we're done with them, and then they brought in a whole new coaching staff. So in that time, it was pretty hectic because I like transferred there, and I wasn't sure if Tion was still gonna have a job or not. And I was just like, oh, this might have been like a huge mistake. And then you have Kish from North Dakota who came down to Oklahoma with his staff and got to train with them throughout the summer, and it was good. It was good. So went through that year, and it was different than all my other training. He like looked at wrestling in a completely different way and just like really broke down like the steps and kind of like tore into my wrestling a little bit, but added back onto it. And then, had some good success, got injured towards the end of the year with a meniscus injury. And that kind of affected my Big 12 wrestling. I came away, I think, with third, and then kind of went into that tournament ranked third or fourth, and then ended up in third. So, yeah, good year.
Yeah. So, okay. So then you get third. You're at Oklahoma. Then you decide to transfer to Iowa.
Yeah. Did you have another year at Oklahoma, or that was it?
I had one more year of eligibility. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So, but yeah, only that 1 year.
Only the one
college.
real year of wrestling. Okay.
There for a year and a half, but only wrestled for that year. Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Need a new roof, gutter, or siding in Eastern Iowa? Call JB Roofing and Construction, the local and reliable roofer with over 20 years of experience. They do one roof at a time, unlike others who juggle multiple projects and cut corners. They also serve a 45-mile radius around Kelowna and help you with any insurance claims. Don't wait. Call 319-656-ROOF or visit their website, jbroofingkelowna.com, for a free estimate. JB Roofing and Construction, the small-town roofer you can trust.
I love Estella's because it's fresh. From fresh grilled steak, the salsas, to their fresh pressed tortillas. I love Estella's because it's made there right in front of you, and it's quick, and it doesn't feel like fast food.
It's fresh food made quick. We both love Estella's because it's made with love. They put a lot of pride in their food and customer service, and they're locally owned. Fresh food made quick with love. Check out Estella's today. Hey Hawk fans, looking for the perfect spot to fuel up before or celebrate after a Hawkeye win? Look no further than Marquee Pizzeria, located in the vibrant Iowa River Landing.
Their wood-fired pizzas have truly changed the pizza game.
Whether you're cheering on the Hawkeyes or just searching for a delicious meal, Marquee Pizzeria is the place to be. Swing by and experience the best pizza in Iowa. Go Hawks.
When it comes to keeping our home comfortable, we trust only the best. Loudon Plumbing and Heating. Whether it's fixing a leaky sink, keeping the house cool, or making sure the furnace runs smoothly in winter, Loudon Plumbing and Heating is our go-to. For reliable service, trust the corridor's best. Loudon Plumbing and Heating.
So I was pretty much risking my last year eligibility to come to Iowa, get accepted as a student, come to the team, and be a part of it. And it was crazy. It was crazy. Yeah, I prayed about it a lot, and I had people telling me, I'd be like, you're making the biggest mistake of your life. And move out there. And a part of me wanted to stay in Oklahoma because obviously Tion and the relationships that I built. But yeah, I got to Iowa, got on the team. I was just like, this is great, because I think Iowa gets a bad rep too for like wrestling, and they're like, oh, these guys you have to wrestle a certain style, and the brands aren't like, they're not good for you, and they break you down, and you get there and it's just completely different. So, great decision. Well, best decision I made in my wrestling career. So yeah.
Wow, and to know that there was so much risk like behind the scenes in terms of hopefully this all plays out exactly how it's supposed to.
Yeah, once I took that first step, it was just like, there's no going back. And I was just like, did I make the right decision? And yeah, it would have been crazy if it could have went a completely different direction, and I would have been,
who knows?
Maybe a student at Iowa, but like no wrestling eligibility. So yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. So you had mentioned that actually in one of your like your press conferences afterward, or some kind of interview, where you're like, there's this different kind of like preconceived notion about the brands, about Iowa wrestling, like, and it's so far off base. So I grew up in Iowa, have only known Iowa wrestling, right?
Gotcha.
Like, obviously I've only worked with Iowa wrestling. So I kind of already have a feel for it. And I had no idea that there was this like kind of, I guess,
stigma?
like I said, stigma, I guess, of of what Iowa wrestling is. Now, I did go to UNI my freshman year, and I do remember them saying that they hated Iowa, but I was like, that doesn't mean anything to me.
Yes.
No offense, UNI, just saying. But I guess what is that stigma? Just like across the board.
Yeah, so I'll start off with, I saw like one of Spencer Lee's shirts, and it was like, it said Spencer Lee versus the world. And I was just like, what does that even mean? And I get to like, and then I get to like college wrestling, and it's everyone hates Iowa. So like, even if like your opponent beats you, like, so if I got beat by a guy from, let's say, Ohio State, and this Ohio State guy is going against Iowa, you want the Ohio State guy to win. Like, everyone is against Iowa for some reason, and I don't know what the reason is. But it's just it's a negative stigma, and no one likes the brands, and they just have like this complete opinion that is completely different from like the people in Iowa. So like, if you're from Iowa, you love Iowa, you love the brands, you love everything about it, but outside of it, it's just like, I don't know if it's jealousy or what it is, but like, people just don't care for it, and they want to see Iowa do bad, but you know, they do well for the most part. So yeah,
that is so interesting.
It's wild.
I think I probably love that even more just because the brands are so like in your face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's because they're so animated. It's gotta be. It's gotta be.
Yeah, and it's probably one of those things too. And we talked about this, I think with Nelson or Spencer when he was on, like Austin DeSanto. I'm sure you've probably have been with him in the room and all those kind of things too. But it was like, if he's on your team, you're like, oh yeah, that's my guy. If he's not, you're like, that guy's crazy.
Yes.
But if he's on your team, like, that's my kind of crazy though. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so we just love him here. And so I think maybe it's probably kind of comparable to that.
Definitely.
But your personality is very low key.
Yeah.
Whether it's like right after a match, after a loss, which we don't see many of those, but or in interviews, whatever it might be, like, you're very low key. So how do you kind of like play into, I guess, that culture?
Yeah, that's funny. I am pretty chill, not gonna lie, and I don't show that much emotion, but I think I have like a lot of emotion like underneath, and I think their emotion that they show on like every match kind of like feeds into that, and like, it's like every day for them. Like, I mean, they wake up like 5 a.m. and they're in the room and they're just ready to go, and I think it helps that out because it's like, you get into the room and some days you don't really want to be there, but then you see their energy and you're like, okay, I can get behind that. And on the mat, that kind of like fuels you too. And yeah, just seeing how much they care, because I have a lot of emotion for the sport, and I'm a competitor, and they're competitors all the way through and through. And like, as the coaches, I think they want to compete for their guys even though they're not competing. So whether that's winning a call for them that changes the match, or just getting in the ref's ear, or whatever it is, people see it and they don't really care for it. But like, when you're on the mat and you see them kind of like behind you and like with that type of energy, you're like, okay, I like that. So yeah.
It's funny you say that, because Spencer said the kind of the tipping point for him for coming to Iowa as opposed to like Penn State or whatever it might have been in his initial recruiting process was he watched the brand's coach and he was like, I don't want to wrestle against them. I want them in my corner. And so like that kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I can get behind that. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. Very cool.
So juxtaposing calm, cool, and collected, and bombastic, for lack of a better term. You don't got to get into like the weeds of this, but I know that there was like a story brewing going into the semifinals. Yeah, because AJ Ferrari, obviously like a little more outspoken, right? Yeah, and you're a little less that way. Like, I know the camera panned and you guys are like walking by each other, right? Like, I was dying. You got no music in.
Oh man,
like he really wants the smoke, like something. But it, like, seeing that is just so interesting on like how a sport that's very individualistic, because you're the only one out there. You are on a team, but you compete there, and yet there's so many different personalities that go there. So I mean, I think that kind of wrote its own story, just that little passing by. But then everyone was able to go behind it, and the crowd went crazy when you beat him, right? Like it's like, that's so, as a fan, like, that's really cool.
Yeah, no, AJ, he's like one of those personalities that whether you love him or you hate him, you're going to watch. And he comes with a lot of noise. But like I said, I think in another interview, he brings in like views to wrestling. So he's doing like a good thing for the sport. But yes, I was like no music all this year because in years before
You're
I would just
crazy.
get like too pumped up or like whatever. So I was just like I was just being my thoughts. And for that match, it was like I was kicking myself because he was like talking, but talking to me and talking to himself. And it was like he said like later on it was like psychological warfare. And we were like walking by each other. I was like, wow, this was such a mistake. But yeah, he was just being AJ. And I mean
Sure.
that's who he is. So yeah, I was just trying to do my simple routine and like stick to it no matter who I'm going against. And yeah, I ended up working out. So yeah.
I think that's the really cool part of it is that he does bring views, like you mentioned, and it almost created an entertainment value just on a very brief encounter. At least as a fan, like the NCAA is like, they know what they're doing. They're going to record whoever's coming up next, right? And they know where the views are.
Yep.
But to like create that entertainment value to bring more people to the sport, I think is really cool.
Yeah, no, he's definitely an entertainer, and he's doing good things. I mean, whether, like I said, whether you love him or you hate him, you're gonna watch, and that matters for the sport.
And I think he said like he wants to get into UFC.
Yeah.
And there are those personalities, whether it's like their true personality or it's kind of an act, right? Like there are those characters within UFC that you love to hate.
Yeah.
And they almost want you to hate them.
Yeah.
To watch that, right? Like,
yeah.
And so to understand that, I was telling Matt, I was like, it's smart, right?
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he
It's
definitely
like marketing.
knows what he's doing. Yeah.
But
He markets himself
there's also an
really well.
appreciation from fans too for guys like you, where, you know, it's like, oh, he's just going to do his job. He's going to do his thing. Like the glory's not going to go to him,
Yes,
right? Like
exactly.
that kind of thing too. So I don't know, just to see, like he was saying, the juxtaposition of that and to be able to appreciate both, I think is really cool too.
Yes.
And obviously it was really cool to watch the Iowa guy win.
Yes, definitely.
That was like a cherry on top.
Yes, yeah.
Very cool. What was that whole NCAA experience like for you?
It was great, honestly. Like in years before, you have like so many things going on. You have to worry about so many things. But like coming to Iowa, like I kind of spoke on it. Their staff is amazing. And you go to a tournament like that and you're worrying about like the little things like tickets, laundry, where you need to go, who you're going to practice with. And it's just all taken care of. So like all you have to worry about is wrestling. And they have like these managers just going back and forth from like the venue to your hotel, and you don't even have to wait. Like you walk out, there's a van waiting for you, ready to take you to your hotel so you can eat and rest. And it's just, it was seamless, and it made things so much easier. And then wrestling, yeah, I mean, Tom and Terry, they were just telling me like, wrestle how you've been wrestling all year, keep your feet and hands moving, offense high. Because I mean, I've been to the tournament before and done well, but I kind of plateaued at like the semis, and I had AJ, and it was, I would say, a lot of pressure.
Sure.
I would say, and yeah, definitely nerve wracking, but like I say, nerves just show that you care. So after winning that match, it was for real. That's good. Yeah. So yeah, after that match, it was just relief and just a lot of gratefulness and thankfulness for like the people who poured into me, and yeah, the opportunity to wrestle in the finals. And yeah, obviously we know how that went, but yeah, it was just like you said, just a cherry on top and just a great way to end the season.
What's the waiting, or I guess weighing in? What is that like during NCAAs? Like how often do you have to do that? Like I feel like you got to be really, obviously you have to be all buttoned up to wrestle well.
Yes.
But I feel like diet is so hand in hand with wrestling, especially when it comes to like bigger tournaments.
Yeah. So Tom and Terry are always on this, and they're like, don't worry about your weight. And like, because you don't, like, sometimes guys will like worry about their weight more than the matches, and they end up losing that match. So their like philosophy is it's better to win the match and then worry about the weight later. So it's always like high carbs and so you have a lot of energy, getting your water in you. And then after you're done with your matches, then you go into the weight cut. And like, so after you have to weigh in 3 times, but every day you get a pound. So the last day I'm weighing in at 199 instead of 197.
Oh, whoa. I did not know that.
Yeah. So that's always nice to get that extra pound. But after the first day, I think I was like 7 over, and you have to make that weight cut back down. Yes. But most of it's water weight. Yes. If people think it's like, that's wild.
No,
but
we don't
like,
think it is. We know it is. Like, that's wild.
Yeah. So, yeah, it definitely took, a while. But most of it's water weight, so it comes off pretty easy.
Okay.
And then you have like the coaches, easy for the most part. I mean, in the moment, yes, you're like, oh, how much more do I have to run or bike? But the coaches are there, and like if you need help, like just like having like a pat on the back or just a word of encouragement, I mean, they're there to help you through it. So they make it as easy as possible. And yeah, so you make the weight cut and you just refuel and then do your matches and then kind of rinse and
So like
repeat.
for the schedule of the day, like weigh in the morning and then do your match whenever that is, and then you just get ready for the next weigh-in the following morning?
Yes.
Or is it staggered?
Nope, that's exactly it.
Okay.
So weigh-ins were at 8 o'clock, and then, well, they changed the times, but it's always 2 hours before wrestling starts.
Okay.
And then me being a heavier guy, I get like another hour to an hour and a half. So like I didn't wrestle until like 3 hours, 3.5 hours later. So like I would weigh in, get my food, go back to the hotel, eat, chill, and then come back for the match, and then go back to the hotel. So it was just like I probably spent like maybe like 2-3 hours in the venue, and most of the other time it was just like relaxing, staying away. So your like nerves don't get high. You don't need the pressure on you. So they do a really good job of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I see. And Nelson said this too. It totally, yeah. And Nelson said this too. He was like, I can lose 11 pounds in a couple hours. And I was like, Nelson, I don't know what that means. Like to a normal person, you say like, oh, I was like 7 over. And that's like 7 pounds. People are like, I could lose that in 2 months. You know what I like?
Yeah. Wrestlers
so
they can cut weight like no other. And it's, I guess you just get used to it because you see guys around you like 7 pounds, like it was like on the lighter side because you had guys who were like 9 and 11. You're like, well, I don't want to be in their boat. So like my 7 is like good. But yeah, outside of wrestling, definitely would be like, what are you guys doing? But yeah.
Is it like Foxcatcher where
have you seen Foxcatcher?
I don't think I have. No, I know I know it's like the wrestling movie all the time. There was I heard about it, and then apparently because who is it even about? Because I know there's some it might be about some guys in Oklahoma. Because there was like some it came up in Oklahoma, and they're like, stay away from the movie. Not a good movie. Because apparently like who it was about was like from Oklahoma, and he did not want anything to do with it. So that may have deterred me a little bit, but I still might have to watch it now. But.
Matthew, check out who the brothers were in Foxcatcher.
Yes, the Schultz brothers. Yes, yes. So
thank you.
Yeah, I talked with one of them, and he was not about it, which was wild to me because you think like when they do a movie on you, you'd be like all for it, but
it's kind of a sad story.
It is.
But I'm thinking of a very specific scene where the guy's got to lose weight, and he's got like I think it's Channing Tatum's character. He's got like a sweatsuit on, and he's like biking feverishly fast in like a heated room and everything. And like that's what I think of when I think, oh, I got 7 pounds to lose by tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, is that what you do?
Everyone's different. So like for me, I'm like on the treadmill more. So if you're like a runner, you can do that, and I'm more of a runner, so I'll run.
So you go full sweats and
full sweats, and then I'll run and then I'll bike. But yeah, for the most part, you're just in full sweats and you're just working it off. And I'm a runner, so I do that. I stick to that. But you have guys like PK, and he's like a bike warrior. I mean, he gets on that bike and he'll just stay on it for 45 minutes. I'm just like, I can't do that. So yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
That requires, those bikes are not, it's like, they call them like assault bikes or
assault
whatever.
bikes
So like you got to do like the arms.
I wouldn't wish that on
too.
anybody.
It's like a full body, man. Yeah. There was workouts this year where I wasn't running and we were on like the bikes because it's like easier on like your joints. And I'm like, the first time I was like, oh, this will be like an easier day. And I was so wrong.
You get that fan going?
Oh,
man. You're screwed.
My legs were burning so much and my arms were burning. I was just like, what is happening right now? So yeah, that was a pleasant surprise. But then assault bikes were just crazy.
Those are no jokes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, people have their preconceived notions about the Brands brothers, but their wrestlers absolutely love them. And everybody loves a good Brands story. So do you have any good stories about Tom and Terry that are appropriate to share?
Yes. Let me think here real quick. Honestly, nothing too funny. Nothing too funny. I mean, you have like Terry. I mean, he's always cracking jokes, but just a lot of like stories where like he's kind of helping me along. I mean, he's helping me along in my sleep, my nutrition, and just like practices. I mean, I have so many memories about like him just like helping me on like the little things where I thought I was good. Like my single leg was like the best in the nation, and he's just like, hey man, like there's a lot of steps that you need to take that can make it even better. And then you kind of like learn from him, and then you see that growth, and you like do it in a match, and it works, and you're like, I appreciate you, man. So just a lot of those.
And he was
sorry, go ahead. Nope.
Well, he was one of the first ones to like greet you after your win.
Yes.
What did he say to you, if you don't mind sharing?
He said, "Do you want to throw me?" So I was yes. And honestly, if I was better at throwing, I probably would have tossed him. But I didn't want it to be like a bad throw. And I was just like,
and he like lands on his head or something.
Yes. I was just like, oh, I'm good. I was like, I'm good.
He said,
I
I'm
should
good.
have practiced it. But yeah, that's what he was saying. And then. Yeah, he said a few other things, but that was the one thing that was like with me, man. So
that's such a Terry thing.
Yeah.
And I just really loved when your mom came up and Terry was like, yeah, come over here. And, not like, oh, get out, this is, whatever.
Right.
Like, that was just really sweet too, and a really cool moment.
Yeah.
Was she just so proud of you?
She was. And that's what she was saying. She's, all throughout the season, she's like, no matter how it goes, like, I'm proud of you for like just the journey. And, it really stuck out to me because, like, I mean, Big Ten's lost in the finals, and she was just like, it happens, but I'm still proud of you. And I'm just like, yeah, you're right. And then, just kind of moved on from there. So,
those are my favorite stories. Made me cry.
When you first got here, since we were talking about Terry, was it hard to figure out who was Tom and who was Terry?
Oh, dude, yes. Like, oh my goodness, that would have been a funny story. I got there, and like Terry was like more scruffy in the summer.
He normally lets his hair go a little bit further.
So I was just like, okay, Terry's always like longer hair. Tom's like more like clean shaven. And then there was one day where Terry got a haircut, and I was just like, and he came up to me, and I was just like, because usually I'm like, oh yeah, hey Tom, hey Terry. And I was just like, hey man, like I don't know who you are, but now like you kind of like know how they speak, and like you can tell the difference after you stick around for a little bit. But
that.
That was I was just like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know who you are right now. But.
We were watching NCAAs. We're like, wait, is that Tom? No, I'm pretty sure that's Terry.
Which usually you can tell them apart. After watching for so long, and then. Yeah, I was like, who's in his corner? I can't do that.
Yeah.
I like the shirt, by the way. I complimented you when you came in. Tell me about it.
Beatty, man. Shout out Beatty. He got us 2 shirts. One's Tom and Terry, and this one's Tom. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, really cool.
That's really cool, sure.
Yeah.
You guys have the one too where it's like, it's a Nike one. It says like the Brands Brothers, and then on the back, maybe it's on the front, it has like their eyes.
Yes, that's the one I'm talking about. Yes.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
It's really cool.
Yeah, it's sweet.
But only you guys get those, right?
I think it might be apparel, open apparel, but I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to check. But
gotcha.
Yeah.
Can
definitely.
You
sweet. What was that?
Can you scoop us one?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. I'll have to talk with Betty, man.
No.
Yeah.
I've only seen you guys wearing them.
Yeah.
And every time somebody has one on, there's always a fan that's like, where'd you get that shirt?
Yeah.
Like, no, it's just for us.
No, I laid it out on my bed, and I was looking at it because there's like both of them, and it's just the eyes, and I was just like, I honestly can't tell which is which. I was just like, I don't know. I still don't know. So
I love that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Well, I want to talk to you about your celebration.
Yeah.
After you win.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. So you kind of do you're like usually on your knees, you do the thing with your hands.
Yeah.
And then what exactly does all that mean to you?
Yeah. So before the match, it was after I beat AJ and was going into the match, I was just like so grateful to God because it was like just a platform that obviously comes with a lot of pressure, but it's also like a gift. And I was like, as I was coming out, it was just like there's like pressure, some nerves, and I was just like, Stephen, this is a gift that God gave you to wrestle on this stage in front of all these people, and only 20 people get to do it, and you're one of those 20. And it kind of changed my perspective of not like wanting to win, but just trying like wrestling my hardest match to glorify God. And after that match, it was just gratefulness. Like it was like relief, but I was like, God, thank you for this opportunity that I was able to wrestle here and then win. I was just giving him the glory, and it was just a lot of emotions coming down, but just looking back at the journey of how many doors he opened at the right time, and some doors that he shut that I was just like, why? And then another one opens, and it's just this path that you would never expect, and then you finally get to that moment, and you end up on top, and it's just you're just left with gratitude, and that's what it was. Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah,
and that's kind of that's been your celebration all year long, right? Just kind of, and is that kind of like a moment for you, just of like gratefulness, thankfulness, that kind of thing?
Yeah, because like all season I was really trying to focus on AO1, and it's just audience of one. And it really just kind of takes the pressure off, and knowing that you're wrestling for your team and the people who poured into you, but ultimately you're just wrestling for God, because he's the one who's giving you the gifts and abilities to wrestle on that platform, and you're just wrestling for him. So yeah, throughout all the season, I was just pointing my fingers at him, and just like, I think I said this before on another podcast, but wrestling was always more of like something that I did because I was good at it, and I'd never really had like a passion or a love for it. I had a passion and love for football, but not wrestling. And when I got to Iowa, that like slowly started changing every match, and I would like pray before matches and be like, let me just feel your pleasure, and just having like fun while doing this. And throughout every match, it was just more and more like that. And then you get to Big Ten finals and you lose, and then you're like, well, that wasn't that pleasurable, but there was so much growth and learning from that, and knowing that nothing changes. Like my salvation, or like I'm being a child of God, that doesn't change on win or loss. So it was just really focusing on the season, not like wins or losses, but just wrestling for him. So yeah.
So many young people need to hear that stuff.
Yeah. No, I think it's so easy to get caught up in wins or losses, and like you
And
kind
what
of
you
like
do.
Yeah, and you get your identity kind of stuck in that. And it's like when you win, you're high, and then when you low, you're like, I'm nothing. Like this is terrible, and it's just this roller coaster. And like if you just change that mindset, it takes off so much more pressure, and I think it just gives you the ability to like take a step back and be like, I remember when I was 8 years old, and I was praying to be here and wanting to be here, and now I'm here. And it's just like, it's so easy to get like kind of stuck on that ride and not even take a peek back of like all that God's done for you. So yeah, it just gives you that perspective of like, just gratitude. So yeah.
Yeah. I think that's one of the most beautiful things when you come by any like success, I guess, or any like great opportunity, and you get to kind of look back and go, oh my goodness, like what a beautiful plan that was, as much as that hurt and I didn't understand this. But then to like be able to piece everything together and say, I couldn't write a better story.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like I said, I mean, at the end of the match, it was just like a flashback of like all the schools, all the coaches, everything that like went together that I didn't think that could go together at all. Yeah. And then you get to the end of it and you're like, I don't know how he pieced it together, but he pieced it together, and it's just beautiful. So it was great.
Well, and the true step of faith to even come here.
Yeah, that was
like that's all I was thinking. It was like that. That's just not knowing where the footing is and being like, all right, I guess I'll walk.
Yes,
like that's wild.
Yeah, no, it was definitely crazy, and like you obviously like take the step, and you're like, did I make a mistake? And then your faith kind of falters, and then you get there, and like everything's like sunshine and rainbows, and you're like, God, you had me the entire time. So just a lot of gratitude, a lot of gratefulness. So.
And I kind of think too, a lot of the greatest things come after like ultimate surrender, and it's almost like when you took that like leap of faith to come to Iowa and take that risk, it was like the ultimate surrender of like, I'm going to surrender my future college career, like this last potential year, everything that I've done up to this point, and just surrender it to you and say, I guess I trust you, you know?
Yeah, and just leave it in his hands. And he does more than we could ever think or imagine, and it was more than I could ever think or imagine. And
You said you were praying when you were 8. Sorry.
Yep, go ahead.
Were you going down the same path?
Yep, go ahead.
When you said you were praying when you were 8, like were you grown up this whole time? Like parents really faithful and
Yes. And I guess I didn't really get into that. Faith was like a big thing in our family, and so it was kind of big throughout my entire career. And like when you leave for college, you kind of have to make your faith your own. And that's where I kind of realized that like my faith was more my parents, and I kind of got lost. And then we had a tragedy in my family. My older brother Jesse ended up passing away. And that took me down a path where, it just felt super empty. My identity was in wrestling, and everything was just going downhill. And then Tion Ware, that's when he kind of like picked me back up, and he became my mentor, and he really helped me on my faith walk. And just that entire chapter of my life, it's just, in that time I thought nothing good could come from it. And now I look back, and it's just like, the tragedy, the people that poured into me and helped me to like rise back up, and just how everything kind of worked out and pieced itself together. It's just, I could never have done it without the people and God. Like it's just, I look back and you can't have the sweet without a little bitter. And it's just good. It's good. So yeah.
Regardless of what bads come, there will be some good that comes of it.
Yes. Yes. And and that's why I've been realizing it's just like, no matter what you go through, the good or the bad. And I know it's so easy to get stuck on the bad, but like God can use whatever situation, how bad it looks, for your good. And the things that I learned from that chapter and applied it to the next chapters of my life, and still will be able to apply it to other chapters, and the connections I made, and just kind of realizing, taking that step back and knowing like, I'm not the only one that has tragedy. Like if you like, so many times I get in like this view of like, I have to focus on me, but like that tragedy kind of opened up my eyes, and I was able to look at other people and kind of open up and be vulnerable. And like, you realize that so many people around you are going through maybe not the same things, but something not maybe as hard, but something that might be even worse. And you can connect with them on that level. And it's just, that was like just one of the good things that came from it. So
you can really build a sense of community.
Yes.
And then you figure out who's really in your corner. Are they being animated and throwing the brick and like,
exactly.
all that? You really figure out who's with you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible. And you're really involved in Athletes in Action at the university. And you have been at your other schools as well. Is that right? Oklahoma too?
They didn't have Athletes in Action. It was like FCA.
Okay.
So pretty much the same thing. But also, that played a big role, because AIA has really helped with just like the Bible studies every week, the meetings at Monday nights, where like you kind of have this hectic, busy schedule, and then you get to the meeting, and sometimes you're like, I don't really want to go, but then you go and you're like, that was so worth it, because it like refocuses you on like what's really important. And it's at the beginning of the week, so it kind of like gives you that reminder to like keep your focus on Jesus, even though throughout the busyness. And then you get the mentorship, like my being mentored by like Tim. He's one of the leaders there. It's been so good for my walk, and he's been just teaching me and just allowing me to grow in that area. So it's been great. So
very cool.
Yeah.
And you've got a pretty serious girlfriend, right?
Yes.
What's her name?
Her name's Ellie. Ellie. Yeah, she's a teacher. She's from Wyoming.
So you're grinning pretty big over there, man.
What was that?
So you're grinning pretty big over there talking about her.
Yes. Yeah. No. She's great. She's great. Yeah. And we're a year and like a few weeks, but she's we've done long distance, and now she is planning to move here over the summer. So that's really great, and I'm looking forward to that, because long distance is not it.
Fun.
Yes, it's not it. You grow a lot, I feel like, but being like close and like being able to grow together will be so much better. So
I will say the main reason that I brought her up is because I really liked her pants.
She spent so much time on that. I remember she was like,
what are you talking about?
Yeah, she was like, I'm gonna be wearing something, and then she was like working on it for so many hours. I forget how many hours it took her, but
I'm gonna pull them up.
She made the pants.
She made So she like had like pictures that she like I don't even know how she did it, but like
I can't find them.
You like kind of iron it out, and it would like stick to the pants, and then she did like all the individual beads that she called it like bling. I don't know what you call it, but she blinged up the entire pants, and it looked sick. It was sweet. I saw it. I was like, heck yeah. She's like.
I gotta find. I'm trying to find the picture, but I can't find them. But they were really cool. So shout out to Ellie.
Yes, I was just like, heck yeah, that's my girl. That's my girl.
Yeah.
So
I love a good like. We call them game day outfits, but match day outfits.
Yes,
I guess
match day. She went over and beyond, and it was sweet. So
it was really cool. Very cool. Yeah. Well, Stephen, this has been so great. Yeah. I have to ask you too, before we get going, do you have any other hobbies outside of wrestling? Like, what do you like to do?
Man, wrestling does take up a lot of time, and like growing up, we weren't able to like do that many like fun things. So I got into gaming a little bit. Yes, it was like, okay, I guess we did fun things. We did fun things. Not like that, but like just like easy, like my parents weren't in the big TV, like no TV, no gaming. So like things like that were like you kind of like everyday things. We just didn't really get growing up. So yeah, watch a decent amount of TV, some decent shows, and then gaming, and then kind of getting into pickleball now with Ellie. She's way better than me, and it's like I'm so competitive, and I'm kicking myself because I feel like I'm more athletic than her in some cases, and this is just she's like standing in the same place. I'm just running back and forth, and after like 2 games, I'm like pouring sweat, and she's like not even sweating. I'm like, what is happening right now? So yeah, just that, and then I'll ball up here and there with some basketball. Yeah, I feel like I could have been better than my older 2 brothers at it, but we stuck to the mats and it worked out. So,
Stephen, I have to tell you, there's something about athletes that come in here.
Yeah.
They all want to tell us how good they are at basketball.
Everybody's
What
a
is
hooper.
that? Everybody. It's become a thing like during football season. Every single person that comes in is like, I like to go to the rec, and we're like, okay, like who's on your starting 5?
And then they always put themselves at the starting 5.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
no,
hilarious.
it's definitely fun. Yeah. I would say I'm good for a wrestler. And like, because most wrestlers are.
So you're
are
just
not the
fouling
greatest.
everybody or what?
I wouldn't go that far. I feel like I know how to play. My shot is not the greatest. I have a little bit of handles, but it's always fun to play.
So you're a hustle guy. You're gonna get rebounds. You're gonna play good defense. Yeah.
I'm a rebound guy. Yes. Yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
I love when basketball comes up because everybody thinks they're like, they've got their specialty and like, no, I'm the best at the thing that I say. Oh, that's so good. Is there anybody else on the team that's like good, or anybody that like plays that you're like, you shouldn't play? Even like rec, you shouldn't even.
I remember the first time we came here, I think it was like the first few months we had a picture day, and there were some basketballs laying around, and like the entire team was out there shooting, and we were playing, we didn't get into a game, but we were just playing Lightning, and I can't remember who it was, but there were some shots where you're like, and then they try to get it, and you like if you're missing multiple layups, it's just like, oh, all right, bro. But yeah. So yeah, some guys much more talented than others, but yeah.
Gotcha.
Definitely something that I think a lot of wrestlers get into.
I like how you didn't call anybody out.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was.
We know darn well you know who it was. You're just not going to call them out, but that's okay. Yeah. That's all right.
That's so cool. Well, anyway, we are just so happy that you decided to become a Hawkeye. I think you have fit in just seamlessly into the lineup, just even from an outsider's perspective, being able to watch how you communicate with your teammates like on meet days and communicate with the fans and just the way that you are out on the mat. It's just been such a joy. And I know a lot of Hawkeye fans, all of the Hawkeye fans wish you had another year. And we just so appreciate that you took that risk and that step to come here and to be a Hawkeye. And it's just been so awesome watching you. So thank you so much for your time.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me. It's been great. So,
this was awesome.
And even better to get you on after you won the national championship.
Definitely.
Congratulations on that, by the way.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Incredible.